Hey guys, and welcome back to the 8-Bit, your source for all things video games. I'm your host, Jeremy. And tonight we have reviews for two very different games, Hotline Miami 2 and Battlefield Hardline. We also have a very unique challenge segment where local artists sketch mystery Pokemon. Stay tuned for all of this and more on the 8-Bit. Even though Nintendo's Wii U has only been around for 2 years, Nintendo has announced that they are creating a new next-gen console. Nintendo is partnering with Japanese mobile gaming company DeNA to create this new console, codenamed NX. Nintendo and DeNA are also attempting to develop smartphone games starring Nintendo characters with a new multi-platform software service. Now, what do you guys think? Should Nintendo go mobile? Sound off in the comments below, guys. Electronic Arts, publisher of the rebooted Star Wars Battlefront, released more information on their upcoming game. Battlefront will be shown for the first time in a Star Wars celebration in Anaheim, California in mid-April. A blog from the game's team teased, "You've been patient, young Padawans. Soon, your patience will be rewarded." Star Wars Battlefront is set to release in 2015. Battlefield Hardline from Visceral Games and Electronic Arts was one of the most anticipated games of early 2015. From fast-paced car chases to dirty cop work, Hardline delivered a new twist on classic Battlefield gameplay. See all of this and more in our full review.
When Battlefield Hardline's cops and robbers premise was announced, gamers had mixed feelings. Anticipation grew as the gamers wondered whether or not Visceral Studios would deliver another Battlefield masterpiece. What they got was a whole new Battlefield experience, a game which tied in many of the series' trademarks while still creating a brand new image. It's a game that might just surprise you. The story is set in Miami, and you play as Detective Nick Mendoza, a man with a difficult childhood which has motivated him to be an honest cop. Nick seems to be the only cop in his department that is not crooked, which makes for interesting plot twists throughout the game. This unpredictable rollercoaster ride of a story is filled with dynamic characters who are both hilarious and interesting. Nick's story takes us to multiple places throughout the United States, showing off some stunning landscapes. I often found myself distracted, looking out and appreciating the detailed scenery. The incorporation of stealth, a police scanner, arrests, and my personal favorite, the taser, are big additions to this game. You must avoid your enemy's vision, and the game provides creative ways to accomplish that, such as rock or coin tossing. Nick can use his badge to freeze up to 3 enemies at one time. This allows for arrests to be made without combat. However, players must control the situation to make arrests by focusing their weapon on the suspects until handcuffs are put on or backup arrives. Failure to keep the situation under control can result in enemies drawing their sidearms or running for alarms. Other additions of the leveling system the campaign uses, allowing you to unlock other weapons, attachments, and equipment for Nick to use. Overall, the campaign was pleasantly surprising with its fresh story and great voice acting. Multiplayer has always been Battlefield's bread and butter, and Hardline doesn't fail to deliver to fans.
Although the game is great, it's not without its flaws. Driving physics at times is especially bad. There are points where you feel as if there is no power steering. The zipline is cool, but a large pole magically appears half a second after firing it, which is kind of awkward.
Multiplayer includes classic modes of Battlefield as well as exciting new match modes. All 4 classes return, but the class building gets a new twist with a currency system. The multiplayer altogether is very smooth with a fast pace Battlefield fans have been wanting. In my opinion, Battlefield Hardline is the first Battlefield game to combine a great campaign and stellar multiplayer since Bad Company 2. The story draws you in, and the multiplayer keeps you addicted yet satisfied. The 8-Bit gives this game an 8.5 out of 10.
Uncharted creative director Neil Druckmann announced in a PlayStation blog that Uncharted 4 will be delayed until spring 2016. Druckmann explained that the game is more ambitious than the team originally anticipated, and that they want to give players the game quality Uncharted fans have come to expect. Druckmann went on to say more information on the PS4 exclusive will emerge this year. In related news, Sony has announced that they will be releasing a remastered version of God of War 3 for PS4 on July 14th. The God of War franchise has earned praise critically over its 10 years existence, and is one of Sony's biggest exclusives. Could this remaster be a precursor for our God of War announcement at this year's E3? Sony's lineup looks underwhelming after the delay of Uncharted 4, and a new entry in one of their most profitable series could put a spark in sales this holiday season. Try explaining Pikachu in a few words to a friend. Yellow electric rat? You'll notice it doesn't work out so well. We took this concept to the extreme in this week's challenge segment, Pocasso. Watch as Jane struggles to describe Pokemon to local artists.
Welcome everyone to Pocasso, where artist visions come to life based on our descriptions of some lovable and quirky Pokemon. Let's meet our artists. Alright, so first, can you introduce yourself? What's your name and what's your major?
My name is Michaela Lafferty, and I'm a nursing major.
My name's Dylan Hamill, and I'm an engineering major.
My name's Nate Siegel, and I'm studying fine arts.
What would you say is your favorite art style?
I like to make videos, and I also have a webcomic.
I like doing realistic sketches.
I like to do sketching for friends mainly, and I love photography.
Alright, so here's the deal. We'll give you the name, Pokedex description, and a description that we've come up with as a crew. You'll have 10 minutes to decide what you think each Pokemon looks like. Your first Pokemon is Whismur. The Pokedex entry is, if it starts to cry loudly, it becomes startled by its own crying and cries even harder. When it finally stops crying, the Pokemon goes to sleep, all tired out. And our description is a knocked out little half blob, half bunny. Alright guys, let's get started. Alright guys, time's up. This is what Whisper looks like. Let's take a look at the first drawing. Okay, so how do you think your drawing compares to the original picture?
I think it turned out pretty well. It's definitely a lot spookier than what it actually looks like. But you know what? That's okay.
Well, I think it looks nothing like it, but mine's definitely crying more than theirs. So I win there, I suppose.
I would say that my picture doesn't quite look like the actual thing. It looks like a bunny about to throw up.
Alright, let's move on to the next drawing. Your next Pokemon is Nosepass. Its Pokedex description is, its magnetic nose consistently faces north. Travelers check Nosepass to get their bearings. Our artistic interpretation is, a sleepy rock with stubby arms and legs and a huge nose. Let's get started with round 2. Alright guys, time's up. Are you ready for the reveal? This is what Nosepass looks like. I'm so excited to see what you guys came up with. How do you think your drawing went on the second attempt?
I think it turned out pretty good. I tried to go for a whole Easter Island head thing, and I think I accomplished that pretty successfully.
Well, once again, it doesn't look anything like it, but I have a boulder looking thing with a magnet for a nose.
I would have to say that my drawing doesn't really look anything like Nosepass really does. My drawing kind of looks like a sponge.
That's all we have for this challenge segment. Thank you so much for coming out. We had so much fun. Let's take it back to Jeremy in the studio. This is Jane Walter signing off.
The man behind the long-lasting Metal Gear franchise, Hideo Kojima, is reportedly breaking ties with publisher Konami this December after the release of Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. Kojima has worked with Konami since the release of Metal Gear on the MSX2 back in 1987. According to an anonymous source, internal disputes surrounding the 5th game in the series has driven Kojima and his senior staff at Kojima Productions away from his long-standing relationship with the publisher. Though this has not been confirmed yet, Kojima Production logos and brandings have been removed from the Phantom Pain sites and promotional materials. Japan Studios and From Software's released a new trailer for Bloodborne, their masochistic PS4 exclusive. The trailer shows off the game's beautiful graphics, a flurry of terrifying enemies, and an enormous arsenal of weapons. Check out the full Cut You Down trailer on the PlayStation YouTube page. Bloodborne is out now, and you can see our review of the game in the next episode of the 8-Bit. Fans of needless 2D gore and unforgiving close-quarter combat, your game is here. Hotline Miami 2 from developer Denton Games. After the high expectations created by the original Hotline Miami, we thought the game deserved a thorough look. Enjoy our review of the bloodiest game you'll play this year.
Mixing great level design and unique storytelling, Hotline Miami 2 by developer Denton Games is a worthy sequel to their 2012 indie hit. The game has some minor issues, but Hotline Miami 2 improves on almost every aspect of the first game. It can be brutal, and it will piss a lot of gamers off. But the killer music, gameplay, and narrative makes Hotline Miami 2 a must-play for any gamer looking for something out of the ordinary. Hotline Miami 2 is a top-down shooter where players must move from room to room and exterminate all enemies in their path. The designers scatter weapons throughout the levels, providing the player with plenty of different ways to complete each level. After completing a stage, you receive a grade based on things such as kill creativity, level completion speeds, and the size of your combos. Good grades reward the player with masks. These masks grant characters special abilities like Deadly Fists, Companions, and Berserker Rages. Hotline Miami 2 is hard, super hard. One stray enemy shot can kill you in an instant, which can be annoying if you are near the end of a floor. Sometimes bullets from off-screen will hit your killer, which leaves the gamer thinking, where the hell did that come from? The game tells its story through a series of blood-soaked episodes. The player controls a large cast of characters, including a serial killer, a war hero, a detective, and a writer. The narrative rewinds and fast-forwards in time, forcing players to piece the game's narrative puzzle together. The hidden depths of the idiosyncratic story offers fans plenty to speculate and theorize about. The soundtrack in Hotline Miami 2 is one of the best video game soundtracks of all time. The electronic synths match the hyper-fast action of the game. One problem with the game are the bugs that pop up. On 2 separate occasions, the game wouldn't allow the completion of a level. If this happens, the game forces the player to restart from the beginning of the level. Another issue is when enemies blend into the environment. Nothing is more frustrating than getting through a wave of enemies just for a dog to leap out and kill you. Despite the game's bugs, Hotline Miami 2 improves on the original in every way. The 25-level campaign's ambiguous story, rewarding combat, and grading system offers insane replay value. Hotline Miami 2 is available on all PlayStation products and Mac and PC. The 8-bit gives Hotline Miami 2 an 8.5 out of 10.
This week we have another addition to our Indie Spotlight series, Five Nights at Freddy's 3. This point-and-click survival horror game has developed quite the cult following since the series launched in August 2014. In less than a year, developer Scott Cawthon has released 3 separate games, and we think that deserves a little attention. So here it is, Five Nights at Freddy's 3.
The Five Nights at Freddy's series took the internet by storm since the release of the first game last summer. The franchise revolves around the haunted animatronics at a Chuck E. Cheese-style restaurant roaming the building at night, and you're the night guard. The player must survive each of the 5 6-hour shifts. Five Nights 3, just like its predecessors, is a point-and-click survival horror game. The player must keep track of the animatronics' locations using security cameras, but each game has a different strategy to stay alive. The first installment involved closing doors to the security office while managing power. The second game forced the player to disguise himself as an animatronic and frequently winding a music box. The third one provides you with audio tapes to distract the single animatronic, but also forces you to frequently reboot failing technical systems. Five Nights at Freddy's 3 had a much different strategy to it than the previous 2 games. First, this game only has one animatronic, named Springtrap. He moves fairly quickly and can access your office through air vents. Second, you have no defense. The only way to survive is to keep him as far away from you as possible using an audio track, which you can play in different rooms. Third, this is the first game that forces you to think quickly rather than just react quickly. There are times when you have to blindly play audio in different rooms because you may not have enough time to reboot the camera system too. The danger really begins when you have an audio error. If you can't lure Springtrap where you want him, it could mean your death. Five Nights at Freddy's mechanics are simple, but fans are crazy about its intricate backstory. Within each game, there are hidden clues that tell the history of the restaurants. Whether you're intrigued by the murder mystery or not, Five Nights at Freddy's games are a blast to play, especially with friends. The jump scares are great and usually unpredictable. If you're too chicken to play the game yourself, you should either force a friend to play it or watch some playthroughs on YouTube. All 3 Five Nights at Freddy's games are available on Steam. Number 1 is $4.99, and 2 and 3 are $7.99. Mobile versions for each game are also available for $2.99. For such a low price, there's really no excuse to not get this game.
That's all the time we have for this week, and thank you again for watching. Check us out next time to see more news and reviews, including the Borderlands Handsome Collection and the PS4 exclusive Bloodborne. Remember to email us with any questions or comments you have. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. This is Jeremy Sirigar, powering off.